It is Tuesday morning. What time is it? 10:40, and it is going to be raining here all day. I just noticed my hair looks really crazy, but that's okay. I am headed out to Ashburn to drop off some shoe covers and a little QR code display for anyone that wants to get the listing brochure via a paperless route, and basically just get the finishing touches put on a listing that I have that will be on the market Thursday morning. And I was there a couple days ago for media day, and then I was there about 2 weeks ago for the initial listing appointment. And quotes for the listing appointment, because I do my listing appointments a little bit differently, and that's something that over the years has really changed in my business of how I approach a listing appointment. And I like to do a lot of the heavy lifting in advance of a listing appointment so that when I am face to face with the seller, there is more of a dialogue, answering their questions, going over their concerns, giving them confidence about putting their house on the market versus it being more of an interview style. I quickly got, I would say, tired of the interview style listing appointments. They're stuffy. It ends up almost feeling like an interrogation because there is obviously a lot of information that as agents we need to obtain when we're going to be listing a house. But I think that it takes the personal approach out of a listing appointment because as an agent, I was getting so focused on getting all of the information that I needed that I wasn't leaning into and there to support that this is a huge decision for a seller to make. It comes with a lot of emotions, and no matter how well we do our jobs, it comes with a lot of stress. Moving sucks. Nobody moves because they just think it's fun to do. They move because there's a pain point in their life and they need to make a change. And that pain point is worse than the stress and hassle that comes with a move. So, what I like to do for listing appointments is ahead of time, I have already had them complete online a seller information sheet. That's not what I call it. I call it a seller playbook, but it doesn't really matter the name. This sheet is designed to give me 99% of the information that I need up front so that when I go into the home, one, I'm there for as little time as is possible. And I'm very transparent with my clients that that is the purpose of them completing this information up front. It is part of a little bit of pre-listing preparation that I like to do because no matter how much my sellers love me, they don't want me in their house for hours and hours at a time. And I completely respect that. And to be transparent, I don't want to be there for hours at a time either. My time is valuable too. So I get all this information up front, and what that allows me to do is go in with an understanding of not only the basics of the property itself, but also of why these clients are looking to move and what they are looking to accomplish with this move. And that helps me ask better questions in a more conversational form when I'm face to face with them versus like firing 25 questions at them. That is all information that can be obtained ahead of time. I take a more conversational approach to my listing appointments, and that's not going to work for every seller. I completely understand that. And if you're watching this thinking like, but some sellers are transactional, yes, you are spot on. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not the type of client that I want to work with. And I'm at a point in my business where it is quality over quantity. If I don't really enjoy working with someone or I see early on that it's probably not going to be a good fit, I'm going to refer them to someone else. So for my clients and me, what works best is this conversational approach. And I like to be able to learn more about what their concerns are. And when I go for the face-to-face appointment, that's actually the first thing that I say is, are there any questions that they had that I can answer up front that they'd like to talk about, or any concerns too. And that does two things. One, it shows them that I really do care what they're experiencing and I'm going to be there for them throughout the process. But two, it also helps me know that oftentimes there are then questions that I don't need to ask them because they already answer it for me by bringing up their own questions and concerns. And that also saves time. Something else that I like to do on listing appointments, I already have, I'm not a fan of scripts. I think that's probably pretty clear at this point if you've watched this channel for any amount of time at all. Scripts, in my opinion, only work if the person on the other end answers in a way that you are prepared for. And when dealing with people, it's very rare that you're able to stay on script because you can't possibly prepare for every scenario of how someone's going to answer. So I do have questions that I always need to get answers to. And most of those are done up front in this pre-listing packet that I work through with them. Part of that is the online form that they complete. The other part of it is also that I also send them examples of my marketing, both in the print form and then what I do on social media for listings. And I don't believe there's a one size fits all. And that's also made very clear in everything that I am sending and communicating with my sellers about. They have options. I have 3 different pricing tiers that they're able to select from. Each one includes something different. And it's also not a one size fits all for every property. There are, of course, things that are done for every single property, which I would consider the basics: professional photography, a floor plan, a 3D tour. But then there are additional videos made that are custom to the property. And I put a lot of thought into those. I do that myself. I never outsource that. It's never another agent coming up with the ideas or shooting the videos, because I think every property deserves to be showcased in a way that makes sense for said property. There's never going to be this plug and play format for a property video that is going to do it justice, in my opinion. And for this latest property that I'm getting ready to list, it is in a fantastic location, really sought after. And it's also a townhouse style condo. So it's going to appeal to a lot of first time home buyers because the price point, it'll be listed substantially under 500,000. And in this area, that is incredibly difficult to find, especially when it's going to be 2-level living and it has an attached 1-car garage. So that's the ideal client that I want to play into. And I had that conversation with my seller when I went on the initial appointment to tour the home. I sold him this home a couple years ago, so I was already familiar with the layout, but I needed to learn more about what he really has loved about living there, because at the end of the day, our clients are always going to know their house better than we do. They know what they really love about living there. They know what they really don't like about living there. And all of that is really helpful information when it's time for me to brainstorm ideas for the video marketing piece that goes into listing a home. And that's really where I spend my face-to-face time with clients. I don't spend it getting the basic information of how many beds and baths, square footage, what recent updates have you done, why are you selling, do you need to buy something else, is there a certain timeline you have in mind, where would you place your home value-wise. All of those questions are in the online form that I sent out. And then what they also receive from me, we've got the online form, we've got the marketing information, we have the pricing tiers that they can select from. I also send them a copy of the listing agreement to review. It's not filled out. It's simply for them to be able to get familiar with it. And this has been a key change that I made in my business at least 5 years ago. It may be a little bit longer. I never used to send the listing agreement in advance. I would bring a copy with me. Sending it in advance accomplishes 2 things. It gets them familiar with what they are going to be signing, and it helps conversion rates because it's very transparent. All of it is given to them in advance. And I have never come across a seller who has not thoroughly read through all of this information. I've also never come across a seller who had any pushback on filling out the online form. Again, I'm very transparent with them that I'm doing this so that I don't have to spend as much time physically in their home. And sellers value that. They do not want me wasting their time, and I don't want to waste my time either. So it benefits both of us. The real estate industry has a way of really complicating things that don't need to be that difficult. We are in a people business. So every decision that I make is based around whether or not it's going to be better experience for my clients. And it doesn't have to be this interview, sit down scenario when you go on a listing appointment. You can accomplish so much ahead of time and really maximize the value of your face to face time. Yes, of course, our job is to get their property sold for the most amount of money possible in the shortest time possible. Sometimes within that, we get so caught up on the statistics and the market and the pricing and all of the things that we're responsible for, but then we forget that we're dealing with humans. Humans have feelings and emotions, and making real estate decisions often comes with a lot of unknowns for our clients. It comes with stress, it comes with fear, and then there's excitement mixed in there. But all of those emotions are playing out before their house ever goes on the market. So I like to make sure that I'm not only doing the basics of what it takes to get a home on the market, and nowadays I would include video marketing, social media, it's all basics at this point. I also want to make sure that I'm their shock absorber and that they know that they can talk to me about their concerns so that we're able to work through it together. And oftentimes I leave those appointments knowing that they feel so much more at ease just because they were able to talk to me about it. And that's what I want you to keep in mind on the next listing appointment you're going on. Yes, you have to be prepared. You have to know your stuff. You need to be able to at least have a firm idea of what questions you need to get answered. But within all of that, you also need to remind yourself that this is someone's home. You are dealing with people who have feelings, and people are attached to their homes. It's where a lot of memories are made. It's where we are our happiest. It's where we grieve. It's where we feel safe. Children are born, families grow, divorce happens. So much happens in the home that as agents, I really do think that we owe it to our clients to, of course, facilitate the transaction, but also be there simply as another human to support them through a big life change. I hope you got some value from this. If you did, drop a comment below. Let me know how you run your listing appointments and what does and doesn't work for you. And until I see you on the next one, take care.